All right, so I wanted to make a quick video on network logs and essentially how to see what a website is tracking, what they're looking at, whether or not they're watching your activity, as well as where they're getting their data from, and cover ways to see potentially hidden data, things that they might be making publicly available. Even though it's not publicly available on the front end, there is a way to mine that data or get that data. So it's a way to see what's being tracked on your end. What are they mining from you? What are they getting from you? But it's also a way to see what are they providing to you. You know, what data are they making available to you? So first we're going to start off with something a little interesting, which is a Chinese website. For those of you who are not aware, a lot of websites that are hosted in China are actually they're not encrypted. You know, a lot of your major websites are, so like this major media outlet is going to be encrypted. It's going to have HTTPS, but a lot of websites in China do not have HTTPS. They're not secure. They're just running on port 80 with HTTP. They're not running on port 443 with HTTPS. For those of you taking that Network Plus exam, you need to know those port numbers. But anyways, check this out, right? So some of the websites hosted in China are unencrypted. And you might be thinking, okay, well, is that because they want to catch passwords over the wire that people are putting in? Is it because they want to capture data? Well, it might not necessarily be. So China actually has a lot of rural areas, and encryption is a little heavy. So believe it or not, actually, one of the reasons that China chooses not to encrypt a lot of its websites is because of the fact that they have so many rural areas and they want that bandwidth to be available. Having said that, though, don't trust any website that's not encrypted. Your password can be sent plain text over the wire, and that's never good. But what I wanted to show is one, that, and two, the fact that this website right here, I can actually see the data that's making up this grid right here. So all of that data is getting pushed down into this file right here. So we were able to find it. But let's use an example of how we might actually find this information. So what I want to do is look at Sunglasses Hut and kind of use that as an easier example, because the data's it's in a better format. It's actually cleaned up for us, the responses. It's just we got to be able to find the right response. And once we find that right response, once I show you what buttons to click and all of the rest, you're going to get information that's pretty interesting, right? You can see the part number for the sunglasses. You can see the list price for the sunglasses. And believe it or not, I've actually found automotive websites, RV websites, where they show the purchase price, the amount the dealership paid for the vehicle. This is information they're not making publicly available on the front end of the website, on the user-facing portion of the website, but their JSON and their data that they're sending actually shows how much they paid for the vehicle. So some interesting things like that can happen. But let's pull up Sunglasses Hut and just kind of do a real-world example here of how you might go about finding these logs and seeing what's being tracked and what's available. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click on the page, and then I'm going to select Inspect. With Inspect selected, I can click Network. And then this button right here with the line through it, the circular button with the line through it, if I click that, it's going to clean up my network logs. So we can see there's no network activity left. Now if I go to Min and I click that, a bunch of things are going to happen. In fact, this is a very active website. So this is a crazy number of requests. Normally you don't see that much activity. So like if we go here to the China's website, they're one of their main media outlets. I actually thought that we would see a lot of network activity. I thought there would be a lot of weird things going on. But if I click refresh, check this out. That's it. That's all I get. So not really a lot. There's not a lot going on there, which is both mysterious and suspect in and of its own right. But in any event, the Sunglasses Hut is extremely active, and it looks like it finally stopped at 549 requests. But yeah, let's dig into some of these logs and let's see if we can find what we're looking for. Now, I've selected network, but it's also important to know that of the requests that we're looking for, we want to be specifically focused on fetch-XHR. So these are the fetch requests. This is the data that's been fetched. This is everything we're trying to receive. I can also click on these images, and I can actually, in some cases, bounce to that image URL and see that image. So like if I copied this and pasted this up here, it's probably going to take me to that image. There it is. There's the image. But we're mostly not so concerned with images or media or font that's being fetched or the CSS files. We're concerned with the data that's being fetched. So if I just click on this first bit that was fetched here and I select response, it's going to show me if there's any data attached to that response in the form of JSON. If I click this, no. Here we got an empty object. This is a configuration file of some sort, right? If I just keep going down, eventually we find something that's interesting. So here we can see some things that are probably related to the front end, something that the developers are using to categorize the sunglasses. Is it synthetic? Is it in the other category? Is it plastic? Right? This is something they're using. And then the file right below that one that was fetched actually shows a little more information. It's let me know if it's out of stock. And if that's true, and then I know it is. If it's false, then I know it's, or if it's, if it's false, I know it's actually in stock. It's going to let me know the part number, the list price. Nothing too crazy, nothing too useful. But you might actually have situations where this information is not available on the front end. For whatever reason, the developers haven't worked it into the front end. So you can actually find information that's not available there. To use a more interesting example, let's hop over to Camping World's website. And let's look here. So some of the data that they're fetching is the service manager's email, the sales manager's email, the BDC's email. Now we can see it's not available for this particular unit that's located here at this dealership. But in the event it was located, that might be helpful information to have. And it might not be included on the front end. So this is just one way that you might kind of get information that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get. I can see that they're tracking us here on this website by making note of these tracking tags. And I can even, continue to just dive into this further and see if there's any more information I might be able to pull out, right? So there's a lot here. It's not just, it's not just what you see on the front end. It's not just limited to what you see here, right? So there's always more behind a website. And in this case, we have an email that might not be available. And I'm curious to know, and I really do not know if this email is available on the front end. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to pull this down. I'm actually going to exit out of the logs. And then I'm going to do Control Find and see if that email is available. And we can see I've got 0 out of 0. So I just got a point of contact. I got a contact email. I don't know who receives this email or sees this email, but that's not available on the front end, but it is available in the data on the website. So if you can imagine the things you can do with this, right? Some people call these hidden APIs or different things you can, use to your advantage. So instead of scraping the website and looking for different HTML elements and then trying to pull the information you want out of those different HTML elements, you can in some cases just pull the data file from the network logs and then you have all the data. So it can be an easier way to web scrape. It can be a way to see how active a website is. Is it malicious? Is it tracking things maybe it shouldn't track? It can be a way to get more information. And overall, it's just good to know that this is here. It's also good for troubleshooting because you get your status codes along with your fetch request, and that can let you know which request maybe you didn't go through. You can see what's most active on your network. You can see what's slowing down your network, and you can see what's being passed to and from on that network. So just sitting idle, we can see a request was made. And it's good to know. It's good to know these things. You know, if you have a network and you start seeing activity that maybe you don't think you created, that might be good to know as well. So overall, guys, this is pretty much the end of this video. I just wanted to give a brief high-level view of how this can be useful. There are many more ways in which you can make use of the network tab. You can see the headers. Again, we've got our status code. You can see what kind of method was made. Are they sending information away from the website, or are they sending information to the website? All of this, very, very important. So again, you hit right click, inspect. Once you're in the inspect mode, click on your network tab. Once you're in your network tab, click fetch-xhr and go play around with some websites. Click on the data, look and see what's being passed to and from. That's all I have for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoy making videos. Liking and subscribing helps the channel. It helps me produce more content like this. I have a free Chrome extension that I just published on the Chrome web store. It's called Network Plus Flashcards. You can check it out. So if we go here and I just type Network Plus Flashcards, you can learn more about computer networking. This is it. Here it is. And overall, this channel helps support the creation of free tools and resources like this. Things that you can use to further your career, do more, see more, and hopefully make more. That's all I have for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. There's going to be a link in the description below for a copy of Network Plus the Simplified Guide. That's a free copy that we'll send out for free. I've got a form you can fill out, provide your email, or you can provide your email in the comments, and I'll send you a free PDF version of Network Plus the Simplified Guide. There's 17 tips and ways to break into tech inside of this guide. And overall, I think it's pretty helpful. It's more than just a guide for the Network Plus exam through CompTIA. It's also advice on your career. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. This is what I do. This is what I enjoy. And I can't thank you all enough for the support. Until next time, take care.